The second I saw we were receiving a skill that resembled GRAZE, I was all in on this whole marksman rifle playstyle. Then I remembered they somehow decided to categorize the FIC-22 as a marksman rifle. For context, this thing hits for less damage per shot than many of the game's assault rifles, never mind the effective snipers it's competing with. However, it doesn't trade damage for nothing, being one of the best handling weapons in the game in exchange for shooting blanks. Except now, with the advent of Skills 2.0, we can give a weapon that feels like a BB gun 50 cal stats. Unsurprisingly, all hell is about to break loose on the meta as we scale the FIC indefinitely, one-shot the world, and enjoy one of the most satisfying and skill-rewarding setups in the entire game, with a ludicrous skill ceiling and damage curve warping potential. This is the fourth of my series of build videos releasing in December, discussing Payday 3's entirely revamped skill system. Check out the rest from the playlist down below, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we turn the FIC into the world-beating weapon I always wanted it to be, without jumping through half as many hoops as last time. So if it wasn't apparent already from the introduction, I think DMRs are pretty busted at the moment, and that's mostly driven by one skill in particular over here in the professional, head games. This is an endlessly scaling damage buff that's far easier to stack than I initially thought. Once the dozers start spawning in, if you just get up in their face, shoot them 10 to 15 times, ideally, the slower they die the better, the more of a damage boost you're going to get. You're looking at 100% damage boost every single time. Stacking, you're going to be in the thousands after a 20-minute long heist. It's genuinely unbelievable. This is the core skill. The entire build comes out from here. It's all we really want to build around. We do have a few more nice utilities though in this line. Skull Trauma is pretty nice, basically just for the reload speed. The headshot damage is whatever. We're doing infinite soon. Stockpile Marksman, we have to ace this out because we don't need return policy. It's a good sniper skill, but not really a DMR skill. They shoot too quickly to make much use out of this. We don't need Stockpile, but it's a fine addition to have. It's a little more penetration, basically. Armor Piercing, though, is really useful for in the early game when you're still stacking up that buff. The extra armor layer broken through is a nice bonus, but also being able to penetrate an extra target is nice because we don't have GRAZE in the traditional sense anymore. It's not like we're shooting a wide radius bullet. Instead, Ricochet works around the target that's actually hit. So it's a 1.5 meter radius at the moment. I believe online it says 2 meter radius, so I'm not entirely certain who I should be believing. It feels like a reasonably sized radius of damage. It's well worth picking up, and it means your 1000% increased damage bullet will be doing that damage directly to everyone in the area. So you can expect AoE one-shot kills. It's incredibly powerful with a rapid-firing weapon. Basically nothing comes close in terms of pure damage. I do think you might get more utility off a pistol build, but DMRs take the cake on the damage front. Moving on to our more utility survivability skills. Soldier, we go extra protection, head guard, armored up aced, and armored up 2 aced because we are running an armor bag here. Armored up 2 aced feels amazing with 4 plate resistant. It's effectively 8 more plates of armor you can run throughout a heist, but it's also an instant heal for all intents and purposes, which is crazy. It's not something we really have in the game for armor previously. Feels very strong. Beast of Burden, a go-to in every build, and Bastion as much as possible. It's so good, it will make Cloakers trivial. Eventually they're going to switch these two around, so it's going to be the Ace effect. It might even still be worth dropping skills at that point to still pick up Bastion. That's how powerful a utility it is. Scavenger Ace, because we do need more pickup. We're not running the 3-plate as I do on most of my builds, so that extra 5% to pick up another shot grenade every single time we walk over ammo is nice. Speaking of which, yes, we are running shock grenades. We want shock factor, we want stunned. We're going to pick up stockpile basic. Renewable energy ace, it's another way to pick up shock grenades just by shooting zappers or shooting their mines. It happens more often than you would expect, and it augments the pickup we already have. Electric tenderizer is amazing. Fantastic for doing even more damage against bulldozers, even if you are two-shotting them already. And then highly conductive ace, similar idea. CC is really nice, it groups all the enemies up and allows us to one-shot them with Ricochet and the crazy damage of the FIC-22. This is the build as it stands. I think maybe when the next update goes live in January, I'd be tempted to drop highly conductive ace and maybe even Scavenger too and go Bastion instead. This skill's just too useful to miss out on, but for the time being, this would be how I would run it. Moving on to weapons. Now all the DMRs are really strong now. They're all pretty fun to use as well. But I do think the Fick takes the cake, simply because it's the easiest to use, it's the fastest shooting, it has the best other stats outside of damage. And because damage is going to be no issue, thanks to head games, you might as well use the weapon that handles and plays the easiest, which in this case is the Fick, modified however you want, extended mags, quick mag, whatever is your preference. Secondary, I've chosen the Castigo, mostly because I think the weapon isn't great at the moment, and I want to encourage myself not to ever switch, because the problem with head games is, if you switch or drop an armor bag, you will lose that buff permanently. Well, I say permanently, you can obviously earn it back again, but you will lose what you've gained up to that point, which is a massive pain, and it can actually end the heist for you if it happens at an opportune moment. So, trying to discourage myself from switching weapons here. The Red Fox is basically just for your teammates. Yeah, there's some use in it. Maybe if you do switch weapons by accident, you can still take out dozers, you can take out other snipers across the map. Still a useful overkill weapon to have, but when you're playing online, just drop these down for your teammates. It's going to make dozers an awful lot easier to deal with. Trip laser, as ever, armor bag, shock grenade, and then the 4 resistant plate mercenary frame. I think this is still totally viable. It's really good with the armor skills I have. Yes, it is finite. No, you will never take enough damage to actually need to go through every piece of armor, especially if you're picking up armor repair kits and topping yourself up when the dozers start spawning in. This is more than enough. You can change it up, you could move the build around to be 3-plate. I don't want every build to be a 3-plate, but this is still a fantastic frame. Or you could still go with the impact mercenary frame. This is busted in its own right. I just prefer going resistant plates 9 times out of 10, because I feel like the overall utility of it with the 40% damage reduction is more valuable. That's the build, let's dive into the gameplay. Have I stressed you enough just how busted head games is? I'm torn on this one too, because much like the FSA before it, it's also one of the most fun and engaging options in the game, despite feeling a little bit dirty every time you abuse it. Another fun fact making it that bit more powerful is landing shots on all cop types, even if it's not to their heads, will not negatively scale the bonus. Pivotally, that includes slamming shields in their actual shield, meaning visor shots are safe to make without spoiling your damage potential. As I mentioned in the build section, over half the skills in the longshot branch are pure padding, just to get the Fick through the first 10 or so headshots it needs to start really wrecking shop. Skull Trauma is an excellent utility skill, and Armor Piercing provides us consistent 2-shot kills even when our headshot multipliers only just started scaling, but let's be honest, we're mostly just in it for Ricochet, another absolute highlight skill of this build, and one of the most fun and satisfying to play around. Rather than dealing damage in an invisible radius on the bullet path, as GRAZE or the Red Fox does, this specifically passes on 80% of a shot's damage to neighbouring cops. Don't worry about it not penetrating armor either. By the time you're scaling your head games buff to the hundreds of percent, your upfront damage potential will be more than most cops' measly plates can handle anyway. It's at this point I'm thinking I need a damage tracking HUD installed again, because nothing's more satisfying than landing a massive GRAZE, and to be honest, I'm thinking it's going to be the same for Ricochet. That's on top of having access to a massive suite of shot grenade skills, making it even easier to blow up entire groups of cops in a single shot and keep your stacking buff. Once the dozers start spawning in, ironically enough, that's when your victory is sealed, because these lads are effectively stat buffs on legs by the time they get to you, giving you even more free headshot hits that'll be difficult to miss. What's crazy about this fairly overpowered build though is it would take very little to see it come tumbling down in terms of viability. All they need to do is put a timer on the buff, or a decay, or hell, even just a soft cap, and I think it'd be a much tougher sell. But until they do so, and it doesn't seem to be the case in the January list either, I say why not enjoy the potential of effectively infinite damage. You've earned it. Let me know down in the comments what your record for scaling this thing up is. I've been peaking somewhere in the thousands previously, but I think there'll be rookie numbers in the days to come. I'm ready for someone to send me a screenshot where they've gotten so high they've come full circle and ended up dealing negative damage or something. That sounds plausible for this engine. Thanks for watching again guys, it's been a pleasure putting these builds together for you. I'm thoroughly enjoying Skills 2.0 and I hope you are too whenever you hear this. Take care, enjoy your day, and I'll see you all very soon. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.